Welcome to Tobago's funeral home, where we celebrate life's precious moments. From the moment you enter our doors, you're met with kindness and care. Our reception area is designed to be more than just a waiting room. It is a place of calm, thoughtfully created to ease the weight of grief. In our private conference room, conversations are guided by empathy. Here, our client experience coordinators sit beside you, not just across the table to help plan a service that truly reflects your loved one's story. Whether it's a traditional farewell or a personalized celebration of life, we take time to understand your wishes and offer thoughtful guidance. At the heart of our organization is a dedicated manager who ensures that everything runs smoothly, from the smallest detail to the final farewell. We understand that choosing a casket or a coffin is a deeply personal decision. In our selection room, we provide a calm, respectful environment where families can take their time and explore options that reflect their loved one's life, beliefs, and preference. Our spacious chapel is where memories are honored and lives are celebrated, designed with serenity and warmth. It provides a welcoming space for families and friends to come together in reflection and remembrance. For families choosing cremation, we offer on-site professional cremation services in a setting that upholds dignity, peace, and confidentiality. Our crematorium offers a seamless and respectful alternative to traditional burial, giving families flexibility while maintaining the highest standard of care.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, and welcome to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. It is Thursday, the 9th day of October 2025, and we're coming to you live from the Port Mall here in Scarborough, Tobago. I am Adana Kumbi. This is the day the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it.
Good morning, and my name is Akinrabi Holder, and Adana, we are ready Thursday for the week. The week has been moving so swiftly ahead. I hope that you were able to get all your things done for the week thus far.
That's right. You know, the week really is running down quickly. In fact, we are already in October. Just a couple of weeks ago, we were saying that we are in September. Now we are in the third quarter of the year, and October, we're almost at the middle of October. And you know, by the time we get there, we already start hearing the Christmas music. People are going to start their Christmas shopping, and the whole city is going to be lit with caroling, you know, the way we do it here in Trinidad and Tobago. That's what I was going to say, you know, paranging here in Trinidad and Tobago. So, you know, viewers, look forward to that. Look out for that. Of course, you're going to be seeing parang, you're going to be hearing paranging. But right now, I think the focus is on Carnival, Tobago Carnival 2025. So you're going to be hearing a lot about that as well in the coming weeks as we lead up to Carnival. Well, we have a lovely show lined up for you this morning, and we do hope you could stay with us throughout the entire program. And remember, you can leave your comments on our Facebook Facebook live stream and our YouTube channel at Tobago Updates. But before we get into those conversations, we head on over to the news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Adana. Here is your news in 90 seconds for Thursday, 9th October 2025. With just days to go before the national budget, Tobago's business community is urging the government to prioritize projects that can unlock the island's economic growth. The Tobago arm of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce wants funding to complete the new airport terminal and supports hotel investments that can strengthen tourism. Chairman Curtis Williams also called for assistance to clear the Tobago House of Assembly's debts and reform land license regulations. The Chamber believes empowering the THA to manage land license would accelerate investment and development. Up next, Tobagonians are being urged to help preserve Calypso as the island celebrates Calypso History Month under the theme Calypso Heritage in Harmony, Empowering Tobago Voices. Assistant Secretary for Tourism, Culture, Antiquities and Transportation, Niall George, said Calypso represents the nation's history and identity and must be passed to future generations. 10 veteran Calypsonians were honored at the launch held at the Scarborough Library. The division, in collaboration with TUCO, will host exhibitions, school tours, and performances to educate youth and celebrate the enduring power of Calypso. And finally, Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar has stood by Housing Minister David Lee, confirming he remains in cabinet despite his $1 million bail on fraud-related charges. Persad-Bissessar reiterated her confidence in the courts, saying Lee continues to be the Minister of Housing. However, opposition MP for Aruca Lupino, Marvin Gonzalez, has urged her to revoke Lee's appointment, citing past cases where ministers resign amid allegation. Lee and businessman Hugh Leong Poi are accused of conspiring to defraud the state over 2 million luxury vehicles import using parliamentary tax exemptions. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Biana, for our news there in 90 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the morning where we celebrate with those who are celebrating. It's time for our birthday shout-outs. And this morning we start off the celebrations by saying happy birthday to Jarian Benjamin, also known as Jari. Happy birthday to you. We pray God's blessings upon your life, and we do hope that you have a wonderful and amazing birthday today. Happy birthday to you, Jari.
And we continue the celebrations by saying happy birthday to Miss Melanie Young. Happy birthday to you, Miss Young. Today is your special day. Today is a day that you graced us with your presence. Yes, and your life here on earth. We pray God's richest blessings to you. We pray that you continue to lean on Him and trust Him in everything that you do and everything that you set your mind to, that you accomplish over the next year. Happy birthday to you.
And we wrap up the birthday celebrations by saying happy birthday to the beautiful Mrs. Hannah Paulson. She is celebrating a birthday today as well. And we do say happy birthday to you. We pray God's blessings upon your life, and we pray that you continue to wear that smile wherever you go. An infectious smile, in fact, Hannah carries with her wherever she goes. So we say happy birthday to you, and we pray God's continued blessings upon your life. So happy birthday. And remember, guys, if you are celebrating a birthday, an anniversary, whatever you are celebrating, even though we don't have your photographs, we do join in the celebration with you because we love a good celebration over here. But we remind you to put God first, because He is the sole reason why there's anything for you to celebrate. All right, Akinlabi, who are we having conversations with this morning on our show?
This morning, Adana, we have on Mr. Kenneth Surat, who is an executive officer of the Trinidad and Tobago Blind Welfare Association, and he's coming on to speak about World Sight Day 2025. And also, we're going to have an extended interview with a special guest today, Ms. Jolie St. John, who is the newly crowned Regional Junior Minister of Tourism. And she's coming on to speak about the new CTO Regional, her being the new CTO Regional Youth Minister of Tourism, as well as she would be in the Women in Business segment talking about the GEM concepts, Fruity Roots.
All right. So viewers, of course, we do hope that you could stay with us as we have those conversations this morning. Remember, you can join in by leaving your comments on our Facebook live stream and our YouTube channel at Tobago Updates. We want to hear from you. We want to know your opinion. In fact, you might have a question that you want us to ask our guests, so you can leave it there as well. Well, we have to go for a short break before we begin these conversations this morning. And as we go, we invite you to help us Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Tobago, are you ready to light up the night? Join us for the Lambo Credit Union's Moonlight Miles for Diabetes Glow Walk 2025.
On Saturday, November 15th at Cano Bay Nature Resort, we'll walk, glow, and raise awareness for a healthier tomorrow.
From 5:30 to 9:30 p.m. Bring your family and friends for plenty glow energy.
Registration is just $180 per person, or grab your crew of 5 for only $150 each.
Sign up online or at Lambo Credit Union branches before October 31st.
For more registration and payment details, visit lambocreditunion.com and search Moonlight Miles today.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
How it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna. Look up below, 'cause this is your show.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, where innovation meets excellence and the service reigns supreme. Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces. At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style. Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business. Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products. It's about relationships, it's about you. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
show me that wine. Turn around, girl, don't be shy. Hello.
Nirvana, Tobago's premier all-inclusive event for Carnival 2025.
About the way you blow my mind. Hold me tight and
Just look at the person next to you and say, welcome to
Join us for a night of elegance, energy, and unmatched vibes at Fête AMPLIA. Come dressed in your finest island chic white attire and indulge in a premium carnival experience like no other. Experience live performances by Nadia Batson and Sass, Patrice Roberts and the 18 Band, Sean Marshall, Lyrical, Ramonapi, Juby, and many more. Get your tickets now at islandlytickets.com. Physical tickets available in Trinidad at SIP on the Avenue, Shoaholic, Trin City Mall, Port of Spain, and Cedar City Mall. Happy's Waterhole, Pleasantville, Avala, Hotland Plaza, in Tobago, Barcode Scarborough, Deltec Distributors, Argyle, Pablo Supermarket Argyle, Jade Monkey Crown Point, Shoaholics Lowland, and any committee member. Immerse, illuminate, indulge. Saturday 25th October 2025 from 5 p.m. at the magnificent Magdalena Grand Beach and Golf Resort. Dress code Highland Chic, all white. Nirvana. Fête AMPLIA, where luxury meets rhythm and elegance meets euphoria. Don't just attend, arrive in style.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome back to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. And we have on the line with us right now Mr. Kenneth Surratt, who is the Executive Officer in the Trinidad and Tobago Blind Welfare Association. And he's coming to speak to us about World Sight Day 2025. Good morning and welcome, sir.
Good morning. Are you hearing me loud and clear from Trinidad?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear from Trinidad.
And what's a wonderful day to be alive.
Yes, indeed. So, Mr. Surratt, let's get straight into the interview. Tell us about World Sight Day.
So, World Sight Day theme is Love Your Eyes. And the Blind Welfare Association, we are heavily involved in rehabilitation. So, what we suggest is that you'll see I had a press release where the government, we were very pleased that the government added some important drugs on the CDAP program. But for some years now, we've been campaigning for a specific glaucoma drug to be added on the list. It is very costly, and sometimes when persons who are blind go to get it, they're out of stock. So we are saying we want this drug to be on the CDAP list because it reduces the pressure on the eyes. There are persons who are blind, they can't see anything, but they are still affected with glaucoma, and it impacted negatively on their lifestyle. So if they have this drop and they put it in their eyes, it will reduce the pressure in their eyes so that they don't feel that pain. Also, we want to prevent them from going totally blind because not everybody on our list are totally blind now. But that means no light perception like me. I don't have any light perception. So you could flash a light in my eyes, I wouldn't see it. But we have persons who are blind, who are mild, moderate, or severe visual impairment. This glaucoma drug will help them to maintain the little vision that they have. And it does help. They may not be able to read a print book, but the little vision you have, you can identify where there's a doorway or if the light in the house is on. And that is so important. There is another group, which is diabetic retinopathy. It is a specific injection for the eyes. It is not available in the public health sector, but you can get it in the private sector. We are saying we want that eye injection available in the public health sector. That will reduce the cost considerably for persons who have eye condition because diabetic retinopathy because of diabetes. That will help also to preserve a little vision that they have and help them to move around the house independently. As I said, they may not be able to do things or drive a car then, but they will maintain that little vision they have that they can move around and go about their life. So those are the two main drugs that we want added in the system. The Blind Welfare Association, we don't only cater for totally blind people. We cater for people who fall within the realm of visual impairment. So when you come to the Blind Welfare Association, we will teach you how to do things the blind way. And what is so important is that when we treat with you this way, and we give you the skill set as someone who is low vision or visually impaired or totally blind to cope, what happens if you lose all your sight? It will not be as traumatic as if you didn't develop your blindness skills. So today on World Sight Day, we are telling people, love your eyes, because I'm totally blind, but I don't want to go to the doctor to remove my eyes because they're not working, because I still practice my eye exercises. When I look at people, when I talk to people, I face them and talk. They want to see my eyes, So I still encourage that. What even though you don't have your sight, your eyes may be paining you. Let us try and do remove that person's eyes so that they don't have that pain, because it could impact on your facial structure. So we are saying, keep your eyes even though you're not working properly. We want you to keep it. We want you to use the glaucoma eye drop so it reduces the pressure in your eyes and give you a better life. So this is what we at the Blind Welfare, we are promoting.
So, Mr. Stewart, you've spoken, you've given us a lot of information just in your opening message. But I want to find out, in Trinidad and Tobago, do you have any access to statistics in terms of persons who might be blind or visually impaired to the point that they would need the assistance of the Blind Welfare Association?
Well, not statistics in the sense from the CSO, because the last CSO report in 2011, I think we have about 51,000 people with a disability, but it wasn't disaggregated. So statistics is something we call upon the government to use the United Nations short and long questionnaire for the next survey. We are hoping that they adopt it so that we get the true essence of visual impairment. We are saying that also the disability grant, because that will you have to bring in a medical report to determine your visual impairment or your disability to get it. Also at the education level, there is where you ask for concessions for exams that you could get accessible exam material or whatever needs you have. That is another way to pull some statistics together. The Ministry of Health will also have, when you're assessing children after birth and so on, coming up, who has a disability. So there are some type of information there that we could pull that data to give us that information, what you're asking for. Years ago in 2013 or something there, around there, the government did a national eye survey of Trinidad and Tobago. And the three causes of preventable blindness was diabetic retinopathy, glaucoma, cataract. Those are the three areas of visual impairment. We also have refractoring. Refractoring means sometimes because of how your eyes shape, the light not reaching the retina properly. I put it in simple terms. With glasses or a low vision aid, that could be assisted without surgery, so you could improve your vision. You'll see some people, they might be stumbling along, but if you put on your glasses, they start to move differently, because of refractor errors and not doing surgery, the glasses could correct that, or a low vision aid could assist you. May not be perfect vision, but maintain your your limited vision so that you can see a little better.
So, Mr. Stewart, I was now about to get into the main causes here, based on your media release, the main causes of blindness in Trinidad and Tobago, and you listed the four, which is glaucoma, cataract, refractive error, and diabetic retinopathy, right?
Yeah, retinopathy, yes.
Just in your press release, you also stated that these things are preventable. Yeah, I don't know if you could just go through with us and tell us in what ways some of these conditions are preventable or they could be minimized.
Okay, the first thing you should do, have an eye examination, not by an optometrist. I encourage people, once you can afford it, go to an ophthalmologist at least once a year to have your eyes properly diagnosed. So in case you, like for instance, glaucoma is a creeper. Glaucoma deals with your peripheral vision. So let us say, and how the human brain works, even though you're losing vision, it makes adjustment. So sometimes you're not aware what is happening unless you go and get a proper eye examination by your ophthalmologist. So now that doctor will determine what is the condition of your eyes. If you have glaucoma, or you have diabetic retinopathy, or cataract. Those are the three major causes of preventable blindness, because you could get your sugar test. Make sure. That's the thing about exercise. So if you are diabetic, you run the risk of developing diabetic retinopathy. glaucoma is a creeper, so you could only determine that mainly by going by your doctor. Or sometimes at home you could do a simple test. Put your hands straight out on your shoulder like a T in print. And if you are seeing your fingertip, we could say your peripheral vision is good. If you are not seeing your fingertip, gradually bringing your hands towards your chestlet without bending it. And when you start to see your fingertip stop, if you observe that while you're doing that, you have to constantly bring in your fingers to see the tip. That means you have some peripheral loss. So our advice is to go to your ophthalmologist. Once you go there, that doctor will tell you if you have glaucoma, or if you go by a general practitioner, they will tell you if you have diabetic by you're doing your A1C test. I think you do that. That goes back about 3 months to know if you're on the borderline of diabetes or whatever. So if you have diabetes, it's important that you get that regular eye check. Diabetes could also bring on cataract, or with global warming, it is determined that because of global warming and harmful exposure to ultraviolet light, you could develop cataract. So Trinidad and Tobago, we are close to the equator, so we are telling people these things are preventable if you take the necessary precaution, like for instance, wearing the proper shades when you're out in the sun. You know, they talk about sunscreen and so on. We at the Blind Welfare, we promote sunscreen and so on, but also wear proper tested or certified glasses to prevent UV light from reaching your eyes to help you to prevent having cataract. So those are the three preventable causes of blindness. And then we have refractoring. Refractoring is basically using glasses to correct how light reaches the retina.
Okay, and I see in your release you've also spoken about early detection for children. You've raised a number of issues concerning catering for children, in learning, and also early detection for children. Just speak to us in terms of what impact that will have if we engage in starting to test children from an early stage.
Okay, there's a window for a child up to age 8, I think, scientifically. If you don't treat with that child early o'clock with detecting their visual impairment, because the first thing you want to detect it and see if it can be corrected. If it can be corrected, you have that window up to 8 years. So that 8 years, if you don't correct it, the brain doesn't learn how to see. So say, for instance, if I born blind, but corrective measures could have given me back my sight, and you don't do it in time, if I reach the age of 10 or 12 or whatever, you could do what you want. The brain already developed and it cannot see. You cannot teach the brain to see again. So we are saying that window for a child is different than an adult. The government must make sure we have plans in place to detect the visual impairment of a child early o'clock, have it corrected early o'clock before 8 years, so the brain could be taught how to see, so that child could live a fulfilling life. There is the other aspect now. If the child's sight cannot be restored, we need to introduce that child to rehabilitative services from the Blind Welfare Association as early as possible, so that the brain now could use alternative, we call it neuroplasticity, rewind itself to assist that child to excel and to achieve and to do well. So that child fine motor skills, their hearing skill, their mobility skill, how they function as a child who is blind, helps them to function as an adult. And the children who do well, the children who do well at rehabilitation do well in life also. So early in detection, we don't have that luxury of time with a child. That window of 8 years is where the child absorbs things rapidly. If you go back to your own life, at that childhood age, every single thing you absorb like a sponge. So we want our children who are blind have full access to that rehabilitation.
So in the experience of the Blind Welfare Association, is it that you've seen that parents aren't taking those measures to really have that corrective procedures being done for their children, or is it that the parents are seeking it out but the services are not available or not easily available in the public sector?
There are parents who seek it out, but we have done surveys or samples based on children with disabilities. Sometimes you have to wait 24 months to see a specialist. That in Trinidad, we strongly ask the government, please reduce the waiting list for a parent who has a child with a disability, not only blind, but with a disability, see a specialist as early as possible. We cannot, I can't stress it enough. A child doesn't have that window of time. We need to move quickly on it.
And you also spoke about, in terms of cataract surgeries, you actually spoke about the expansion of cataract surgeries in Trinidad and Tobago to help with the reduction in persons experiencing blindness in Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay, years ago, under the Kamala Prasad previous administration, they reduced the cataract waiting list to 3 months, which is the international standard. People shouldn't go blind because of cataract. Over the years, that has fallen, and we are asking the government to go back to that program, or you can improve it, whatever it is. But the goal is that someone shouldn't have to wait for more than 3 months to have a cataract surgery. And what we are saying, sometimes do cataract surgery in one eye. So one person, you might need both eyes, but you can get two persons getting one eye. So you do one, and then the next year you do the other one. So you gradually give people an opportunity to at least have one eye done. That way, you could reduce the waiting list. And two, people shouldn't go blind because of cataract. And let us go toward the international standard that within 3 months you should have your eyes tested, examined, and a cataract surgery performed, so that you could be back on the job, back on, getting along with your own life, especially the elderly and so on. People shouldn't go blind because of cataract.
And finally, I saw that you called for inclusion of systems and testing methods into the government systems, into the healthcare system, and these are called the Certificate of Visual Impairment, which was developed by the Trinidad and Tobago Blind Welfare Association, as well as the Washington Group questions. Just give us an idea of what the CVI and the Washington Group of questions are really about, so that we can understand why it is you want them included into the healthcare system.
Okay, the Washington Group of questions, that'll be long and short one. So we are saying, sometimes when you're doing a survey, let us say the CSO, when they will ask how many blind person in your house. If someone has low vision, you wouldn't consider them to be blind. But if you ask the question differently and you say, when you are watching television, how close do you go to the television? Or if you are reading a book, how do you hold the book? The mere fact that asking that question and you hear someone say, well, I have to bring the book close to me, or I have to sit closer to the television to see, immediately that person have some level of visual impairment by not asking if there's any blind person in your house. So how you ask the question, you get the desired answer. So the goal is you want to find out through your question here, how many people in this country have visual impairment or even hearing impairment. You'll ask, if you are listening to television, how loud what volume level do you have with that? That will give an indication your level of visual impairment or hearing impairment or some form of disability, right? So we deal with that level. That is to work with the government, the United Nations short and long-term questionnaire to determine visual or hearing impairment or some form of disability. So that is the part we talk about using the Washington Group of questions. How do you ask questions to get the desired answer? Because the World Health Organization says 15% of your population has a disability. We way below that, right? So that is that aspect. The Blind Welfare Association is called upon government. We must determine or define disability or visual impairment scientifically. The Blind Welfare Association developed a certificate of visual impairment form that any practitioner, medical practitioner in the health sector or doctor could do a check and determine your visual impairment. So we are asking the government to implement our CVI form so that if you're looking for any grants at the hospital or you are going for your driver's permit, you should be able to take this CVI form that was developed by the Blind Welfare Association, take it to your doctor, any practitioner in the government health service, and they could complete this form to know your level of visual impairment. So it have mild, moderate, or severe. So we are asking for those two things to be added also, because presently disability is measured based on the doctor's position, but not scientifically. So we have developed this form so that you can measure your visual impairment scientifically. And I want to toss in here, I am totally blind. Medically, I am certified totally blind, medically. but my level to function is higher than the average person. Because of my through the Blind Welfare Association, I learned my mobility orientation skill, learning using use technology and so on. My ability to function independently lifts my level of disability. So while medically I may be certified by a doctor that I am totally blind because I don't have light perception, but my level to function is great. So it cancels out my level of disability because my ability to function. So that is the association position, the measurement of functionality and the measure of the medical model of visual impairment.
And finally, Mr. Surratt, today is World Sight Day 2025. What does the Blind Welfare Association have planned for today?
Well, our plan is really to advocate, sensitize people about, first of all, love your eyes. And even if you are totally blind, still love your eyes because we want you to keep your eyes, make sure if you have glaucoma, the medication is there, even though you cannot see, but to give you a life. So when you touch your eyeball, you feel your eyes, you say, I still enjoy touching my eyes, even though I cannot see. Because maybe down the road, science or some kind of miracle might take place, but I'm not waiting on that. But I love having all my parts that the government give me, or not the government, the doctors or the Lord give me, and I'm happy to have it, and I want to protect it. Tell people protect your eyes. If you have a little bit of vision, try your best to protect it as much and keep it as much as possible. So loving your eyes is loving it based on the spectrum of visual impairment. And enjoy today. And today is a special day. Have high expectation for your children who are visually impaired. Encourage them to go to school and achieve. And the world make me blind is not because I'm blind, because the infrastructure or your attitude towards me as someone who's blind. Because we often see persons who are blind, problem is not the person who is blind, it's people's attitude to persons who are blind. So we are calling on people, love your eyes today, change your attitude towards persons who are blind, and work toward developing a universally designed Trinidad and Tobago so everybody could enjoy it together.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Kenneth Surratt, who's an executive officer of the Trinidad and Tobago Blind Welfare Association, and he was on Tobago Updates Morning Show to talk about World Sight Day 2025 and the Blind Welfare Association's hopes for Trinidad and Tobago moving forward. Up next, we have on Ms. Jolie St. John, who is the newly crowned Regional Junior Minister of Tourism, and she's coming on to speak about her experiences in Barbados earlier this month and being the new Regional Junior Youth Minister of Tourism, as well talking about her business, Gem Concepts Fruity Roots. Yes, that's up next, sorry. But we have to go for a short break, so do us a favor. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back after these messages.
The road is calling. Tobago Carnival. Neon is coming. Presenting the Mashup King himself, DJ Kai, alongside the voice of the people, Boy Boy. The dynamic duo bringing pure fire to the road, CSI Khaled and Selecta Stefan. And Tobago's own, the people's champion, DJ Big Youth. This is Neon Night Mass. One road, one rhythm, one experience. Tobago Carnival 2025. We outside.
Rise and shine, Tobago. The breakfast vibes you've been waiting for is here.
When they wrong, tell you you's a big dancer.
It's time for Sun Up Tobago, the ultimate breakfast inclusive pool party that kicks off your carnival in style.
We come to take shots. She come to take shots.
Join us on Thursday, October 23rd from 6 a.m. to 12 noon at Scarborough House, 138 Milford Road. Music pumping, breakfast sizzling, coolers flowing, and vibes unmatched. This is where sun, sea, soca, and celebration collides. Get your early bird tickets now at Pablo Supermarkets, Barcode, Lost Restaurant and Launch, Signature Cuts, IslandEtickets.com, and committee members. Don't miss the event where Tobago Carnival truly begins. Sun Up Tobago. Come for the breakfast, stay for the vibe.
With Flow Business's new smart solutions, powered by super fast, reliable broadband, you'll feel like there are more versions of you working for you. From website design, development, and digital marketing to promote your business, 24/7 business class support to cloud solutions, security, and more. Multiply your growth today.
That's essentially the main catalyst which drove Frenzy Mass. I mean, all of us would have done a lot of things together. And this was just the next step now, evolution. We lime, we party. So why don't we take all of that and bring it into Tobago, into a form of mass, where we could go on Gallivant and do the same thing where other people could see what we do it on a bigger stage.
But at this point in time, I think Frenzy is important to me. So I decided to put some energies there. It's our first year Tobago Carnival. You know, we now partner with Iconic Mass, and it's our first time. So I felt like, just see, come and really stamp your name and make that presence from the mass side of things. So that's the vibe, Frenzy Mass. Really excited for Tobago this year.
Love to see the girl bend over. Arch your back, me girl. Arch your back, arch your back. Stop the arches. Slap me girl. Arch your back, arch your back.
We're gonna say 1, 2, tie up your shoe. 3, 4, bend back more. 5, 6, no time for tricks. Wine like a feeling for sticks. So I want your bend like you forget to cream your leg. Hold on by your ankle them. Not just you, girl, you want your friend and you want your friend.
Hey, me girl, and what in Frenzy Mass. Watching out there. That is what I was seeing. Rocking it slow. That is what I was seeing.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
DT Smartphone compliments Liberty Business Barbados. 1 Apple iPad from Marketplace Excellence and Caribbean Media Exchange. From Tropical Shipping, 1 Herschel Classic Backpack and Travel Kit. 1 book entitled Atomic Habits, an Easy and Proven Way to Build Good Habits and Break Bad Ones. Spotify and Amazon subscriptions. From Wing Wales Media, 1 Oculus Quest 3S VR headset and 1 onboarding session, 1 year Canva Pro subscription, and 1 year ChatGPT Plus subscription. And from our first prize sponsor of this year's Regional Tourism Youth Congress, Carnival Corporation and PLC in collaboration with Accordies International Corporation, our winner will receive to a value of $6,000 US in prizes. Cash prize $800 US. A tech-enabled kit comprising keyboard and mouse combo, 1 Anchor power bank, 1 Samsung T7 portable SSD, 1 terabyte external solid-state hard drive, 1 Eco DT Smartphone compliments Liberty Business Barbados. 1 Apple iPad from Marketplace Excellence and Caribbean Media Exchange. From Tropical Shipping, 1 Herschel Classic Backpack and Travel Kit. 1 book entitled Atomic Habits and Easy. Junior Secretary of Tourism for Tobago.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you so much for staying with us. And I'm wearing a big grin this morning because I'm fighting back the tears, just like Jolie did there when the announcement came that she is the winner of the CTO Regional Tourism competition, youth tourism competition, and she is in studio with us this morning. Viewers, help me to welcome Miss Jolie St. John. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, and thank you for having me back on Tobago Updates.
Of course, a pleasure having you here with us this morning, and I start off by saying congratulations to you.
Thank you.
For making Tobago proud. And one thing about Tobago Updates Television, we always celebrate when we take a national stage, regional stage, or an international stage. So congratulations to you, to your team, and to everybody who helped to prepare you for the stage. And let's talk about preparation. Now, we know it's not the first win for Tobago, and we know that Tobago always places well in this competition. So in terms of your preparation, knowing that Tobago holds this status for this competition, what was it like for you when you were getting ready? What was your mind space like, and what were your ultimate goals in going into the competition?
Preparation, I would say, was a marathon. There were moments where you gave your absolute best. There were moments where you were just ready for the race to be over. Moments where you felt like giving up. Moments where you couldn't give any more of yourself. But I had faith in my team. As you said, Tobago has consistently placed within the top 4 since we have started participating in the Regional Tourism Youth Congress. So I had faith that the team would have prepared me well. And on my part, I would have engaged in lots of independent research. There was a collaborative effort for the speech writing. I was also involved in curating the video presentation. So it was a very hands-on experience for me. I enjoyed every bit of it, and I am now seeing the rewards reaping.
And you know, while we were looking at the little clip there, we saw all the contestants sitting at the front waiting for the results to come out. And what I was noticing is that little group on the end, your 2 competitors on either side of you, they were having consistent conversation with you. Yeah. And I was looking at all the other contestants, and they were just focused on the presenter. They were not having any kind of interaction. And I found that to be very, very special. What type of friendships were you able to form and networking? Because sometimes we only focus on the competition, but I want to talk a little bit in terms of you being able to form networks and making friends and learning about different cultures while you were there.
Funny enough, we all went to the Regional Tourism Youth Congress as strangers, but on that first day of workshops and interacting with each other, I felt like we all knew each other for like 30 years before, you know, all high school friends reuniting. So we had an entire week of workshops and sessions together prior to the Congress itself. We would have participated in the State of the Tourism Industry Conference together, and I think through those engagements we were really able to build bonds that will last a lifetime. We have a group chat, and every day the group chat is just buzzing with messages. Everyone is checking on each other, wishing each other all the best, supporting each other, and it really was an opportunity for networking, as you said, and to really form bonds that didn't just last through that 1 week of physical contact, but will last forever.
And wouldn't it be wonderful if that's how the world works, you know, that people would remain in touch and really root for each other. And I'm happy that you had that experience while you were there, although it was a competition, you were able to network. So now that you are back in Tobago and you are wearing that title, what are some of the things you are hoping to implement as the holder of this prestigious title, bringing it back to Tobago?
So the presentation that I delivered for the Tourism Youth Congress would have focused on technologically and sustainably enhancing our heritage tourism products specifically. And I hope during my year as Regional Junior Minister, but more specifically Tobago's Junior Secretary of Tourism, I really hope to implement some of the strategies that I would have proposed. Also during this year of my title, I also hope to engage youths of our schools, youths of our communities, promote tourism as not just an industry to them, but as a movement that unites us as a people and unites the entire Caribbean. So during my year, it really is my hope to engage with the community, be extremely hands-on, and make these opportunities not just available for myself, but other youths as well, because they deserve it. Opportunities are meant to be taken advantage of.
That is right, and to make the impacts from as early as possible. Yes. And you know, in a recent interview, the secretary mentioned, or she announced rather, that you would be our first youth tourism ambassador. So tell me a little bit about first of all, how it made you feel feel? And secondly, how do you intend to use that platform, as you said, to engage other young people and to ensure that we understand what tourism really is and how we can contribute to our tourism products?
So when she made the announcement yesterday, I was caught a little bit off guard because I wasn't expecting it, but my heart was extremely warmed. I was extremely honored to know that I would be engaged as the first junior tourism ambassador, but not just myself. Our past junior secretaries of tourism as well would also have this platform, and I believe we would all collaboratively work together to go into our secondary schools, really engage with not just the students within our tourism clubs, but all students who have ideas, strategies that they would like to propose. I specifically intend to be that voice for the youth. I intend to be that bridge to really close the gap between the youth and those in authority. So I believe that's what that platform would provide for me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it is very important to engage our young people from as early as possible to be a part of the larger conversation. And I'm just looking at the smiles here, you know, a really, really proud moment to be standing on what I will call an international stage, although it was regional, but, you know, taking up our space in places where they say little Tobago, you know, but as the Jamaicans say, we small, but we talawa, you know. So again, many congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Now, as you continue in this role, you know, to encourage whether it's young people and even the older ones as well, why do you have this major interest in tourism itself? Because young people have interest in so many things. I mean, I know you focus on technology, and that's one of the things young people are interested in. But why a focus on tourism specifically for Tobago?
Tourism is not just another industry. Tourism is something that Tobago is heavily dependent on for economic benefits. So I believe it's a part of who we are as a people, and I plan to use tourism to incorporate our heritage or culture, something that we already have a powerful background in, as well as foster inclusivity, ensure that we have benefits leading directly to our communities. Tourism is something that's is a part of us as a people, and I believe it really is important for us to leverage the opportunities we have in tourism, encourage the youths to go into tourism, whether that is joining the Tobago Performing Arts Company, attending the Tobago Hospitality and Tourism Institute, becoming a part of the Tobago Hotel and Tourism Association. We have so many entities that are tourism related, that are striving into the Tobago space, and that can really be expanded on.
So very articulate and very focused on the cause that you are representing, you know, here on the island of Tobago, and ensuring that you make that measure of impact. Now, this is your opportunity to say thank you to all those who, because I know, as we say, it takes a village.
It does.
And I know that your village came together to help prepare you. So now is your opportunity to tell them thank you and to really let them know where your heart is concerning this opportunity.
First and foremost, I must thank the Lord. He took me through this entire process, all the ups, the downs, the plateaus, everything. He was there. He strengthened me. I must say thank you to my parents, especially my mother. She would have toils, put in literal blood, sweat, and tears throughout this entire process. My school family, the acting principal, Mrs. Charles Jordan, Mrs. Hackett Bruce, Miss Allen, Mr. Atwell, my form teacher, Miss Harry, my English teacher, and all my other school parents, not just teachers. They are parents to me and my peers as well. From the division, I must mention the secretary herself, Councillor Tashia Burris, as well as the administrator, Miss Shelley Trim, and the entire program coordination unit, the accounting units, the communications units, and the audiovisual team that worked with me. From the division, I must specially make recognition of Mrs. Shahida Sylvester Edwards. There are really no words to explain the contribution that she made, as well as Mrs. Corey Nancis, Mr. Akinlabi Holder, Mr. Dave Elliott, Mr. Al Phillips, Miss Juliet James, and Mrs. Una McNeil Benjamin. Now, my speech writing coach is Dr. Selvon Hazel, who poured so much into me, even though he really had no obligation to. He was truly giving back to me, and it paid off. And Mrs. Alicia Edwards, who was the foundation setter for the speech I presented locally. My sign language interpreter, Mrs. Curleen Stanley Mora, who was featured in my video presentation and has knitted me in the field of sign language prior to the competition. And lastly, I must mention Mr. Lyndon Wilson of Tourist Services Limited for sponsoring my trip, as well as Mrs. Sandra Orturney of Tobago Tourism Agency and Mr. Kern Cowan of Tobago Festivals Commission for their collective contribution of tokens, which I distributed to the other delegates, as elements of Tobago. So my team, my village was larger than large. The support was unmatched.
I know, and I was listening to you saying thank yous, and usually when we give people an opportunity to say thank you, they just group everybody together and say all, but I really appreciate the fact that you took the time to identify the persons individually who came together to assist you, and gratitude goes a long way. And Jolie, on behalf of Tobago Updates Television, I wish you continued success as you continue in this field, not just as the Junior Tourism Minister, not just as the regional champion, but also as an individual, as you go after your personal goals, as you go after the things that your heart pants after, that you continue to be as positive as you are, as focused as you are, and that you continue to encourage people to also come along on the journey with you.
Yes, thank you.
Of course, ladies and gentlemen, we've been speaking with Miss Jolie St. John, and of course, she made Tobago proud again. And Tobago always takes the opportunity to say thank you, thank you, thank you to all of you who contributed to this success. It's how we win. Yes, that's how we girl, and she did us very, very proud. We have to go for a short break before we continue conversations. And guess what? When we come back, Jolie will remain right here in studio with me this morning as we shift gears a little bit, talking about something completely different on the other end of this conversation. So as we go for a break, ladies and gentlemen, we invite you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Quartz is well known as the Caribbean's largest retailer, providing consumers for generations with the very best products to enhance their homes. This year, we bring our expertise to businesses. Quartz Business Solutions will serve small, medium, and large companies with the very best products at the most competitive prices, backed by warranties and after-sales support. Hoteliers, office managers, restaurants, and so many more. Quartz Business Solutions, a brand of the Unicomer Group.
Tobago, are you ready to light up the night? Join us for the Lambo Credit Union's Moonlight Miles for Diabetes Glow Walk 2025.
On Saturday, November 15th at Cano Bay Nature Resort, we'll walk, glow, and raise awareness for a healthier tomorrow.
From 5:30 to 9:30 p.m. Bring your family and friends for plenty glow energy.
Registration is just $180 per person, or grab your crew of 5 for only $150 each.
Sign up online or at Lambo Credit Union branches before October 31st.
For more registration and payment details, visit lambocreditunion.com and search Moonlight Miles today.
The official hub for Tobago Carnival 2025. Tobago Updates presents the We Carnival series, where mass meets culture. Catch us live with exciting interviews and spectacular performances from First, Tam Tam, and many more. Stay locked in for your chance to win tickets to hottest carnival events, a carnival bar hopping experience for you and your crew, and a weekend stay at Mandalina Grand Hotel. It's happening right here. Tobago Updates, We Carnival.
If you see the size on that bam bam big energy, colossal energy, and it release up on the tension, move in one direction, go shadow you. Me and you jamming on the junction or the avenue.